Meet PitchDB, the ultimate platform for speakers looking to make their mark on podcasts, conferences, and media outlets. PitchDB provides access to over 3 million platforms, ensuring you find the perfect avenue for your message. With AI integrations, your bios and pitches are tailored uniquely to each opportunity, giving you the edge you need. Join now at pitchdb.com.
Welcome to Your Brand Amplified, the podcast where we interview marketers, publicists, and brands to learn their stories, what makes them tick, and tips and tricks that make a difference.
I'm really thrilled to have a digital trailblazer herself on the show today, Leah Ray Getz. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
You and your husband really are digital trailblazers. I mean, I think that you've been in this space longer than a lot of people who are now calling themselves experts.
Right.
And it looks like you've always been an entrepreneur when I look at some of your profiles on social and everything. So I wanted to learn more about that journey. Did you always know you were going to be an entrepreneur or have your own business? And digital, what brought you into that world?
Yeah. So it's actually, I should have always wanted to be an entrepreneur. I absolutely did not, because I grew up in borderline lower middle class space, right? Where everything was about security. And I didn't have anyone in my world that was an entrepreneur, that was successful, that anything. So it was all about, oh, you're smart. You can work hard. You can do things. You're sharp. Go get a good job. Right. And so everything was pushed towards that. And I went to school and I got my 4-year and I was a nurse. And honestly, I should have gone to med school. But again, I didn't have anyone in my sphere who was there. So my mom was a nurse. That was relatable. She was an LPN. I went to an RN, a step up made sense. But I had really some mindset issues, I think, growing up. But I would have been a perfect person to go right into entrepreneurship and hit it right out of the park. But I was not. I kind of came in it a roundabout. So I went into nursing. I ended up, and got married pretty young with Todd. And we prayed for kids for a very long time, for 10 years. Wow. And finally, after 10 years of marriage, we adopted our first son.
Oh.
And yes, I started staying home with him full time. It was like the big vision, the big everything. And at the time, Todd was working as a traveling consultant. So his career started as a teacher, and then he came into the healthcare space with me, and we kind of did some stuff. And so he was traveling across the country, Sunday afternoons through Thursday nights or Friday mornings. And so after 10 years of praying for children, and now I was a single mom most of the time, that was not what we had wanted.
No.
At all.
Yeah.
And we had got a homestead, we wanted a homestead life out in Oklahoma. And so we had 81 acres and all this stuff. And we lived in the middle of nowhere. So there was no chance of Todd replacing his multiple 6-figure job locally. That clearly wasn't an option. So we started looking for other ways to go about it. Now, I think a lot of people may resonate with this. We actually I got introduced to entrepreneurship in baby steps, which was the way I needed to, because that was just the mindset stuff that I had to work through. So like a lot of people, I got introduced through network marketing.
Women and moms. I had a conversation with somebody earlier today because I was in the workforce and then got married and had my daughter and took a break from paid work for a while, but I also still wanted to do something. So completely understand, have been there exactly.
Yes. And so it tiptoed me into the waters of entrepreneurship. I started to open my mind. I did a lot of personal development, and we kind of sucked at it, which was hard after being before kiddo came. I was also a multiple 6-figure earner in the corporate space. I was doing great. And so I was used to really achieving, and then what's wrong with me? I can't do this. And so we came online. People are doing this online somehow. I don't know how this works. And so we found affiliate marketing. And essentially, for people who aren't familiar with it, just promoting other people's stuff. So you do the, sales piece and other people do the delivery. It's a really great entry point for people into online. And so through that, learning affiliate marketing, we learned lead generation, we learned copywriting, we learned funnels, we learned closing on sales calls. We learned all of these core elements to doing anything in the online space. And we crushed it. And we were able to retire Todd from his multiple 6-figure job. I think it was 18 months after we started our business. Yeah. And 12 months after that, we actually hit our first 6-figure month. So from there, things went crazy because now I had his full-time attention to help me with the business, not part-time. And how it really exploded for us is that we went from, as an affiliate marketing, we were the number one affiliates in a very large affiliate program. And we had a lot of people asking like, how? Like, what are you doing? What's going on? All of these things. And so we're like, well, okay, we can put together a course or something, right? So we kind of figured we'd try that. And it went crazy. Like our first course was with Twitter and then with Instagram, with generating leads and how to do that in the home business space, the online business space. And it took off and it went from, a solid mid 6-figure kind of business, maybe to the lower end of mid, to our first 7-figure year. And it really hit home having had the journey that we had and seeing so many amazing people who were doing what they were told to do in like network marketing in particular, who never actually got anywhere with anything. Yeah. And we're like, but if you just stop trying to sell other people's stuff and like focus on your expertise, the world can be open to you. Like you don't need a bunch of magic sauce or magic fairy dust or something. Like do the right things and get the fairy dust. It's like, just do the right things and you can get great results. And so that's really where we made the pivot after things really took off for us. And we're like, no, this could help a lot of people. We showed people how we've done this. And so I think it was 5 years ago now, we made the pivot to really help teach and support and guide people into creating, launching, and scaling their own digital courses and coaching programs.
Whoa. First of all, I have to say that I love that you are a woman in the space, because I've speak to a lot of women who are coaches, but not a lot of women who are coaches in the specific way that you are. It's more often that you hear the story of the 20-something-year-old guy who is now has killed it in the digital space because he figured out how to do ads and is doing it for other people and is making all the money. So first of all, I just have to give you some props because love that. Mom power, woman power. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. So now you're helping other people launch courses. And is it primarily across the board? Is it still people who are more on the home space? Because I heard you mention like you kind of moved out of that space and you really want people to live in their own zone of genius.
Right. So we work with a very diverse clientele. So it's really someone who has valuable expertise. Right. And that can be like, we've got clients who are like career coaches and people who are investment coaches or real estate coaches, or like there's some really, really niche things with budgeting and financials. And it's like whatever life experience has brought them, whatever that expertise is that other people would find valuable, that would help them to achieve a valuable result, helping them to put together a program, to get really good systems laid, to be able to sell the program, launch it, and really start to scale, drive paid traffic, all of that. Because a lot of people struggle to put together something, and then more people struggle with selling. So we'll work with the newbies on how to put it together, but we have a lot of people that come to us who went through a program about how to create that didn't teach them how to sell. Yeah. So it's like, okay, well, let's put this, make sure we can actually sell this and make it worth all your effort. Or people who have they've got a great business, but it's very referral based, and they don't have the really good systems and foundations and traffic in the online. And so they'll come to us and we'll help them to get all of that put together to really create a very holistic, robust, solid business and build upon that.
Yeah. Nice. I know one thing that people often think about when they're like, I really want to put something out into the world, and I might know kind of what it is, but well, number one is women. I think we undervalue ourselves. I have a new course that I'm creating, and somebody was like, you are not charging that amount. You have to at least double it. And I was like, okay. So we do still have those self-doubts, even if we are an expert and we've poured so much of our own money and time into learning a craft. Yes. We often are like, oh, but I can help everybody. So I think that's one thing I know that we always have to overcome, or so many of us, especially as women, have to overcome, is that mindset piece. But then also high ticket versus low ticket. Some people say, don't do low ticket, just go straight into high ticket. Some people say, no, start with a lower offer and ramp people up so that you build that trust. Do you have an opinion on that, or have you seen?
I have lots of opinions on this.
Okay,
yes.
Fantastic.
And so I've seen this now. First, it was everyone underpricing. Now I'm seeing it go both ways.
Really?
Because there's a lot of people, and not necessarily with women, probably more with men, honestly, that I've seen it, but where because everyone's been pushing high ticket. But to charge your worth. And the thing is, they've never sold anything online. They've never sold a single version, and they want to sell it for $10,000. And you're like, let's back this up a little bit, right? Like, let's simplify, do a beta, get some results, and then over time, increase it as you get the testimonials to justify that price. Because even if you think your time's worth that, you need to make sure that the marketplace recognizes that your time's worth that. So it's newer within the last year that I started seeing that. But I think there's been so much preaching from the pulpit about charge your worth, which is true, that some people are now going a little bit off the edge on that one. Now, when it comes to low ticket versus high ticket, this is a really interesting discussion, because my first question when someone, should I do low ticket? Should I do high ticket? My first question is, do you have an audience? Because if you have a massive audience, like you've got millions of followers on TikTok or Instagram or YouTube, let's throw together a low ticket offer, do a live webinar, and then go ahead and automate that webinar and just print money, essentially. Okay. Like, that's great. 99.9% of people, that's not them. Right. They don't have an audience, or it's like, I've got 1,000 people or even 20,000 people on some platform. Awesome. But you still need more traffic. Like, that is not sufficient to continually keep a sales pipeline full. So in that case, you got to make sure that your pricing can afford paid traffic. So even if you're not going to use paid traffic initially, say you're going to hustle it out, do organic to get started, make connections, network, that sort of thing, great. But I think everyone wants to be able to scale with paid traffic at some point, right? Unless they just want to do onesie twosie things here and there, and it's not a full-time business for them. Right. They want to be able to kind of take their foot off the gas a little bit, have leads coming in, have sales, queuing up, all of this stuff. That means you need to price your program to have it profitable with paid traffic. Okay. It's just not even at the beginning, but eventually get there. You need to price it that way. Realistically, paid ads get, I wish I could go back, 6, 7, 8 years from and go back to the Facebook ads days of those times where everything was super cheap and super easy and all that good stuff. It has changed. It has gotten harder. You can't absolutely crush it with paid traffic in today's marketplace. You have to be better at what you do, though. Mm-hmm. And you should be in the high ticket space. And it could be low, high ticket, like high, low ticket, low, high ticket, however you want to say it. But really, I get nervous about saying you can be profitable with a $500 course if that's the only thing you have. It can happen. And we have clients that are doing it. But I always say we're going to test paid traffic, because I don't want to make that guarantee, because based on who their target audience is. And plus, election season is going to come and we're all going to get screwed for... Yeah, because it's a bidding platform and politicians are going to pour their money in and all this kind of stuff. So I would say at least $1,000 or up.
Okay. I was going to ask you, what's your threshold for?
Yeah. And for a lot of people, and it depends on how valuable it is, how much time you want to give. For most of our clients, some of them have never coached at all. And so they want to get a few coaching clients under their belt first and then move into a group program. But a lot of people come to us, they've had some coaching experience and now they want to move into a group program. And so we help them create a leveraged group program so they're not trading their time for money and all that stuff. But it could still be a $2,500, $5,000 program, depending on the results you help people get, how much support they get, all that good stuff. So I love to see people in that range if they can get there, if it's justified by the type of result they help people get. But yeah, that allows you the bandwidth to go up the ups and downs of paid traffic and know that you can still get the amount of people, the amount of eyes that you need to make some sales.
What I think is funny is, on one hand, you hear people say, it's really easy to do all these things. But the reality is we know it's not. I'm working with a friend of mine who is an expert in SEO and paid traffic right now, because I said, I want to go into the back of Meta and really learn so he's like, they'll tell you to use this, but don't use this because this is only going to create awareness for for your page or for XYZ, but it's not going to create the results. So it's so intricate to get it right. Yeah. And I think people are like, I can just do it myself. Well, yeah, if you want to use the buttons that are actually going to get you the results that you want. So you really do have to work with an expert, because as entrepreneurs, we don't have the time to be experts in everything. Mm-hmm. So that's why it makes your job, you or your husband's company, that much more valuable, I think.
Right. And I mean, that's where the horror stories come from about ads. And that's why people say ads don't work. And I wasted all this money and to make a single sale. Well, the ads job is only to get the click. It's your landing page. It's your sales funnel. It's your, there's all these other pieces that need to be looked at. Plus you have to be good at the ads piece. Right. And so working with someone who can see the whole picture and teach you the foundations. And I don't like people to I'm just going to outsource it.
Well,
The worst horror stories are always someone who outsourced their Facebook ads at the beginning of their journey, tens of thousands of dollars down the drain with like 0 or 1 sale, like horrible results because they let go of the reins. They trusted somebody. And the thing is, there is like 0 barrier to entry to call yourself a Facebook ads person. And you, as a newbie who doesn't have any expertise or experience, you have no idea how to vet them to see if what they're saying is BS or if this is legit, right? So we work with our clients to help them learn, like get this going. Like you should be at, $50,000 a month before you hand over your ads to somebody else, because then you know what your KPIs are, you know that your systems and funnels are converting, you know everything will work, and you can hold them accountable now because you know what you can get, and they better be getting better than you, or it's not worth the investment that you're putting into that agency.
Yeah, that's a really good marker for people to think about. So I appreciate you putting numbers. You're throwing numbers out there. A lot of people won't do that.
Yeah.
So when you're thinking about launching a course, I imagine some people come to you, they already have the idea, maybe they have it sketched out, maybe they have a full course, and other people know they want to do something, but they don't know exactly what it's going to look like.
Right.
So is that part of like you take different people through that process?
Yeah. And through the market research and really understanding what makes sense for them. So they'll generally have a kind of concept, but we got to shape that and form that into something that's marketable, which is why I don't typically, most of the course creation courses out there that people go through are just about creating any kind of course people want to create, right? That doesn't mean it's a course that someone's going to buy.
Right. Yeah.
So there's a really big difference on that. And so when Todd and I work with someone at Digital Trailblazer, we are making sure that this is positioned from the beginning that someone's actually going to want to purchase it. So that's really, really important. And it's kind of, you sell people what they want, you give them what they need. Right. And so you have to make sure that it's positioned, though, to show what they want, but you're also going to include everything else that they need to get great results. So there's a lot that goes into putting together a great program. There's market research, making sure what people are asking for, what people are looking for, what's on the market currently, what kind of pricing is it, looking kind of results or reviews that people are leaving on all of the books and the courses on the topic in your space to really guide you through things. But we have a client she's crushing it. She's in the middle of calving season. She's a rancher.
Okay.
And so she has cattle. So calving season has officially started. She only joined a program I think a month ago. And she had we got on our sales call and she's like, I want to help people. I don't really know how or why. And I was like, okay, we talked about her background and what she did in corporate. I was like, that sounds amazing. Like strategic planning for small business. This just makes sense. And so we went through that whole thing. She got super excited. She got started, super busy homeschooling cattle and all this kind of stuff. She's already made her first sale. Yeah. Her first $2,000 sale. And so it can go from concept to revenue really quickly if you're willing to just go with it, to trust the process and make things happen. I think a lot of people get stuck in the getting ready to get ready, making sure everything's perfect.
Exactly.
All of that kind of stuff. It's like, trust the process, let's rock and roll. Like, let's make this happen.
And something I've heard is just put out your minimum viable product. Like you're going to probably be changing whatever you put out anyway.
Exactly.
Because I know that program that I created about branding, half of it's like creating your brand. And the other part is like getting to your strategic plan for your marketing, right? And your PR and all of that. But things have changed on a daily basis in the world of digital. So it's like, I can't even put some of those out. Like, I'd either have to take them out completely or just revise them like every week.
Yeah. And I think the perfectionists are like, well, I just want it. Like, I'm going to sit back in my office. I'm going to record all these individual lessons beforehand, before ever talking to anyone or putting anything out there or building an audience. And the reality is, no, like our client, she's doing great. And it's just $2,000 and she's going to give them tons of value. She has the expertise. We've got a good outline of what she's going to do. But the reality is someday this is going to be a $5,000 or $10,000 program and it's going to be incredibly detailed with tons of videos, but she's just starting, right? Like this is the beta version. That's why it's $2,000 and not $10,000, right? Get it out there and you will make a better program in the end, having worked through the various versions with clients, seen their results, what do they really need help with? What are they struggling with? And yes, systems, processes, and internet changes all the time. So you're going to need to update it anyway. But I think people get too wrapped up in this, it's got to be perfect thing. And it's like, no, it's got to get results.
Exactly.
Right? That's what it's about.
100%. I love that story that she just started. She's already made a sale, that her program could start simply. It doesn't have to be all the bells and whistles and super fancy. I'd love to hear about other people that you've worked with and like what some of their results were. And have you ever had to turn anyone down because you like they weren't a right fit?
Yes. And we turn people down quite frequently for our program. And the more that you do this, I think at first, when you first get started, you're like, I need the sale, like, or I need the client. And just please, you have to go through it, I think, before you really put up your boundaries and say, okay, this is not a good client for us, right? Generally speaking, we know our people. We have a vibe. We're like good, wholesome, like family people, like hardworking, get her done type people. And we actually have a screening process that my sales team is, before they ever get to me on the final call, that they're trained on who we don't want to work with. Right. What, and even what kind of offers, because they don't align with our belief system or our morals or ethics. Like, and then by the time we get to my call, I still screen them further and I'm asking them, like, you know, money is a part of the equation, but it can't be everything. Like, if money flows from good service and good value, and if you aren't, like, if that's not your motivator, if you've got that messed up, we can't work together because there's too much of that. There's the bro marketers at the wazoo who will sell you anything to make a quick buck. And that's what's ruining the industry. Like, our mission is to help people who can make a positive impact in the world, reach more people, do it bigger, do it better, so that we can positively impact millions of lives by just focusing on our thousands. Yeah. And so that means they've got to have something good, right? And they've got to be in it for the right reasons. So we absolutely do turn people away on a regular basis. And I think it's hard to do at the beginning. It's probably everyone needs at least one bad client to be able to teach them that lesson, but it is an important lesson to learn.
I was speaking to a woman, I haven't had her on the podcast yet, but I'm planning to, and she doesn't create courses, but she does the closing part. But her team is mostly women, mostly moms who can work. And she talked really about how it's not bots who are chatting with people and doing the prospecting, right? She has actual people communicating with people. And I just loved that she was helping people who, right, can't get a 9-to-5 job, can't go in the corporate world because they want to have that time with their children. Yeah. But still, they can still work. They still have valuable skills.
Yes.
You know? And I think that's something that people forget about a lot of times when we are women, we are moms, and sometimes we have to put that first. I've had people say to me, oh, you're going to be really great at this once your daughter's off in college. And I was like, but I'm still going to be visiting her. She's in college. Like, she's still going to be the most important person to me, you know, along with my family. And I'm not going to give up and sacrifice that time because that is precious. So I love this. This is the way of doing business that I hope is going to appear, is people who are really heart-centered and want to bring meaning to people's lives through this world, instead of just all the people who are like, oh yeah, you know what? We just put a script in front of them. One of the other things that she does is she makes sure that her closers only work on projects that they feel really aligned with. So I'm like,
super important.
Yes, this is so beautiful. Yeah. Because I hear too many companies that don't do that.
Yeah. No, I think that's really important. And what's really fun too is as people start building their own teams, it goes beyond the people that you're helping as clients. And now you start thinking about your team members and how you're helping and changing their lives, right? Like, we have team members whose lives have literally changed in very positive ways because we're able to bring them into our team and you know, create this family and this opportunity. And it sounds, I don't know, like, it just, when you are able to offer people a really good opportunity, right? Good people who are really looking for it, who maybe for medical reasons or whatever, they can't be out in the main workforce, but they're smart, they're willing to work hard, they're willing to learn and do what it takes. Like, it feels so good to be able to, you know, add that sort of value to the world as well on the backside of your business, in addition to what you're doing with your clients.
Well, I'm sure this has been so great because you talked about how you had adopted your son, you were now staying at home, Todd was still traveling, and then you were able to get him out of that. Do you still live on 81 acres in Oklahoma?
No. So
I'm from Kansas originally myself. So.
Oh, okay. So honestly, we're actually thinking about going back to that kind of lifestyle at the moment. But as our business started taking off, my allergies were super bad.
Oh.
We were surrounded by grass. I had to hide inside. I was sick all the time on steroids and asthma and all kinds of things. And so we moved back down to Florida, which we were at before. And so we're in Southwest Florida in Cape Coral. And so we're, have a canal that takes us out to the Gulf and all that kind of fun, beautiful tropical stuff. And although, we were just talking today about getting some land again, you still feel that calling, get the chickens, do the whole bit. But this time around, we're going to make sure we have good internet access because that was a big problem for us last time. So we would have to 20-minute, 30-minute YouTube video would take 16 to 18 hours to upload.
Wow.
We're not doing that again. So wherever we're looking needs to be on fiber.
Yeah. I just did a college tour with my daughter and we were in the Pacific Northwest and I'm like, I love Seattle and there's state income tax there. And
really?
It's beautiful. Yeah.
Oh,
and there's a lot of industry and business, but you're also surrounded by nature. And there's so many islands that you can buy land on. Because that's one of our ultimate dreams too, is to have a little oasis. So I think a lot of us want that now. Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's a big culture. My reels and my TikToks are all homestead, get away kind of stuff.
Exactly. Just enjoy just being instead of all the rush, the day to day.
Yeah.
So how else is your life different now that you've had this huge transition, you've had success, and now you've transitioned into helping other people find the same success?
Well, probably the most important for us is just for the family. So our oldest son, he's now 10. I think he was 2 or 3 when Todd came home. That's been huge. And then we've since adopted a second son. And so Henry has never known a parent to work outside the home at all. And now we're working on building up some more elements within our sales team so that we can adopt a third. So, being able to that's been huge for us. If anyone has dealt with infertility or struggle, they say it's equal for women to cancer with the emotional struggle. It's very, very difficult. But even if you just look at the financial side of it, that can just stop people from having children, period. And so I think this has been a hidden blessing for us that God's provided a channel for us to be able to offer homes to children in need and have the means to be able to do that as well.
Yeah.
And to be able to stay home and be with them full time and all of that good stuff. Yeah.
What is the first piece of advice you'd give to somebody who's thinking about embarking on this journey of course creation?
So the first thing, and this may sound bad and I don't mean it to, but the very first thing is to make sure you have the expertise or life experience to provide good value. Because I think there's a lot of people, there's some very big names in this space, everyone's got valuable stuff and it's yes, but how much are people willing to pay for that? Truly has to be valuable. So what that might mean for some of you can take whatever you have right now and it truly has value. We can package that. You're good to, it's good. Other people might need to go through some sort of certification program or a journey or a process to learn a skill. Right? To learn a way to help people. I think that's really important. We just brought in a new client who's been on this journey for a couple of years, I think now. And honestly, she spent tens of thousands of dollars on all of these programs that she bought. And when she bought those first programs, she didn't even know how, she hadn't built the skill to help anyone yet.
Oh.
She didn't know how. She just knew she wanted to help people. She didn't know how. I was like, oh, honey, you should not have bought those. Those were for after that. That's why those programs didn't help you, right? Since then, she got a certification. She now knows how she wants to help people. Okay, now let's help you build a business around that because we can't build the business without the skill first.
No. Yeah. Wow. And I think that's part of the shiny objects. We see all the people who are so successful, right? Or who have the one answer. And so we want to buy all of their courses. And I've definitely done that. And bought courses that I'm like, I've never even used this course, or I bought this course and it had some value, but it's not very, the quality isn't there that I was expecting, or whatever the case may be.
Yeah. I think making sure that you really resonate with the people who are selling it, but also that what's their training like? How good and detailed is their free stuff? That's a really good indicator. If they seem like they're flying by the seat of their pants, I probably wouldn't buy stuff from them because that's probably how their program's laid out. And also just knowing yourself and your own timing, making sure that what they're teaching is what you need at this time. Because the blessing and the curse of entrepreneurship is freedom, right? There's a million directions we can all go, and many of them can lead to success, but you have to choose one first, right? You have to choose one and move forward and then steer from there. And so you can't be trying to do things at the wrong time without, you can't be trying to build a business when you don't have the skill first, right? It has to be done with good timing and building a really solid foundation.
Yeah. I think that's the other problem with as entrepreneurs, we have a lot of different ideas and we're trying to execute them all at once. And to your point, I find a lot more success when I focus on one at a time, which is what I'm focusing on now. Well, really a couple things, right? I teach university, but then also my podcasting and all the things that go along with that. So, and I'm just really enjoying the process of trying to focus on just one area of expertise and being able to pull in everything else I've learned. But it's, one of the other things that you brought up is the research component. And I think a lot of people, they might see that a few people are doing this. So this is something, I know about this, so I can do this. But it's about the psychographic and demographic research, right? And so what are some ways that you found that people can really hone in on their ideal audience?
Yeah, there's some really basic tools that can get you started on this journey. Answer the Public, the website, it tells you what people are searching for and the volume of it. Make sure that people are actually looking for information. Go onto YouTube. Are there videos with lots of views on this topic? That's a really good sign that people want information. There's always a rule in the info product space. If there's a lot of people searching for information on something, a percentage of those are going to be willing to pay for that type of information. So we want to see, is there volume? Is there people actually seeking this information out there? Because that's important. And unfortunately, people think, well, I want a blue ocean. I want to do something that no one's done before. In today's space, if no one's doing it, it may likely be that it's because it's not profitable, because people don't need it or don't want it or aren't willing to pay for it. So go out there, see what the volume of video views, see Uber suggests, Neil Patel's search engine stuff, see that there's people actually searching for this kind of content is going to be really important. And then even going into, say, Amazon, searching for books on your topic.
Wow, that's great.
And looking at how many reviews these books have. If they have 5 reviews, not a good sign. If they've got 100 or 1,000, 10,000 reviews, that's a good sign. A lot of people are seeking information on this and consuming content on it. Even going to a site like Udemy. Now, I don't like Udemy for hosting your own stuff or looking at prices because it's ridiculously low. But Udemy can be a tool for really seeing how many reviews courses on your topic have. So they don't show you how many have sold, but they'll show you how many reviews they have. And you can look at that and say, they have a ton of reviews. People are buying courses on this. That's a really good sign. And so you can kind of look around, see and read the reviews. What are they liking? What are they not liking? What are they seeking? And you can start this process there and really digging into both on Amazon and Udemy, what's going on with the people who are consuming this information. Who are they? What do they want? And you can kind of start to build that avatar and the offer from that place.
Yeah, I love those recommendations. Is there anything else that you want to share with the audience that you think they really need to think about before they embark on this journey?
It's not easy. It can be simple, but it's not going to be easy. But it is so worth it. It is so worth it. So having a long-term vision of this and being willing to put in the reps, put in the work, do a lot up front before the payoff. If you're looking for a quick payoff and you're not going to have the gumption and the discipline to stick to this over time, it's probably not a good fit right now, right? You have to go in this with a long-term view of what you want to create long-term and know that even, getting to $10,000 a month in 6 months is phenomenal. And because I think people are seeing all clickbait, right? It's ruined. Marketers ruin everything. And I'm a marketer. So, but it's because you see all these clickbaity titles all the time. And she made $100,000 in 90 days. And all of these ridiculous things that are completely unrealistic. And people, I think it leads to the burnout and people just quitting because they didn't get that immediate response. And so I just want to set people up for success long-term and go for 100, you want a 6-figure business. Great. Be willing to put in a year or 2 to get there. Right? If you have to. Hopefully we can do it much sooner, but have the mindset of, I'm going to do it over 2 years, right? Let's work to do it over 6, but be prepared to do it over 2 so that you stick with it enough to get any kind of results.
Yeah. That consistency is so important and so vital. 100%. Now, you talked about Udemy as a platform that you don't particularly love for putting your courses out into the world. Do you have 1 or 2 suggestions that you direct people to?
Yes. So we own a system for a membership site. ConvertPoint.io is fabulous. I highly suggest it. It's an all-in-one for your memberships and for all of the marketing tools that you need as well. Funnels, emails, text message, the whole thing. I do suggest hosting all of that yourself and not going to a marketplace.
Interesting.
Because like the only way to use a marketplace, I feel like, is to have something really low ticket as a lead gen.
Got it.
And just use it for lead gen. So, put a $10 course out on Udemy just to collect emails and phone numbers, build rapport, and to upsell them into something bigger, like get them on your email list and go from there. To me, that's the only reason to put it on a marketplace.
Yeah.
Because they set the pricing and they take a cut. Like, whereas if you control everything, like their profit margins are much, much higher.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay. Now, do you have a favorite quote, mantra, verse, family motto?
Yes. I actually have Philippians 4:13 on my wall right there. I could do all things through Christ who strengthens me. And so for me, that's really important. I think in the entrepreneurship, there's this, it's up and down, and it's an emotional roller coaster. And sometimes I just need to sit with that and have confidence and faith and just sit with him and embrace that a little more deeply and breathe that in, because we can put a lot of pressure on ourselves and put a lot in the imposter syndrome, the worry and the anxiety of having to control and do everything ourselves. And just to be able to know, he gave me the tools. He's with me. I'm good. We're ready to rock and roll. For me, that's been massively helpful.
I love that. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Oh, this has been such a fun conversation. I also believe you have a freebie for our audience that I'll link in the show notes, but do you want to talk about it before we end?
Yes. So this is a premium freebie. This is we sold this one. So this is our 0 to 20K blueprint. This is a course with Trello board that goes along with this to walk you through how to get to your first consistent $20,000 months. So it's very detailed, massively helpful.
And that's a great way for people to learn more about you, get on your email list, and see how they can put together their 20,000 plus month courses.
Yes, absolutely. So, Digital Trailblazer is the main website, but check out the freebie first. It's just a really good resource to get things moving.
Leah Rae Getz, thank you so much for being here and showing us what a true digital trailblazer is. I love it. And I know that it's Friday that when we're doing this interview and it's in the evening. So I just appreciate you because I know this is taking time away from your family as well.
This has been fun. So I'm happy to do it when it's fun. So that's good.
Awesome. And thank you to everybody who's watching or listening to this episode. I will be back again with another amazing expert to share their wisdom with you.
Want more? Check out amplifywithannika.com or follow me on socials at amplifywithannika.